Hey there, thanks for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with Keep Inking Up. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And today I wanted to share two different cards using the Sweet as a Peach stamp set. Now you can get this stamp set with a coordinating set of dies in a bundle, and you do save 10% whenever you order a bundle versus ordering them individually. However, today's cards will only use the stamp set. But please stay to the end of the video because I'm going to share some samples that I use both the stamp set and the dies. But let's get started on the first card. I'm going to start with a half a sheet of our basic white cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 11, scored and folded in half at 5 1/2 to create a standard A2 size card. I am using my deluxe foam mat for the Stamparatus because the stamps in this set are photopolymer. So I'm going to begin. I'm going to open up my card base. I like to stamp on a flat piece of cardstock, and I'm going to begin with Pear Pizzazz ink. And I will stamp the kind of leafy branch image in the middle toward the top of my card. I'll stamp that down. That looks lovely. Kind of has the watercolor look. Go ahead and close this up. And next I'm going to, you'll notice that there's some holes here in this image, and those are made specifically for either peaches, a cluster of peaches, or a cluster of flowers. You have the option of which one you want to use. We're going to use the peaches today. And one of the best colors for the peaches is the pale papaya. This is one of our new in colors. That's the 21-23 in colors. So I'm going to open this up and I will ink up my peaches, and that would be wonderful by itself. It's a beautiful peachy color, but I thought I would add a little bit of dimension to these peaches by adding a bit of Calypso Coral. So what I'm going to do is use a sponge dauber. I'm going to ink up my sponge dauber, and I'm going to tap my dauber around the edges of these peaches, and this will just give an extra little color dimension to these peaches. Okay. I like to close up my ink pads before I get ink where I don't want to. Now this, I can't get my head directly over, so we'll see how well I can line these up. I apologize if I do put my head in the way. I'm trying to line those up. Stamp them down. Oh, they're okay. They're a little bit off, but isn't that pretty? It has the multicolor on there with the peaches. And next I want to add a sentiment, and there's several sentiments in this stamp set. I'll bring this in again. You've got several sentiments to choose from, and you've got little small ones that can go with them. I'm going to use, let's see, Sweet as a Peach, and I will stamp that in the Pale Papaya ink. Let's make sure we get it right side up instead of upside down on my card. And I'll put that right down here. Sweet as a Peach, that looks lovely. Next, I'll add the Your As in Calypso Coral. And we'll just add this right on top of the Sweet as a Peach sentiment. So isn't that cute? So this is a really simple one-layer card, Your Sweet as a Peach, that you could just pop in the mail and thank someone. On the inside, you could put a thank you, and you could have put thanks for being as sweet as a peach. You can put anything inside. Use some of the other stamps that you may have in your collection, but that's a really cute card. So that's the first one. I'll go ahead and set that aside so we can move on to the second one. For the second one, again, I'll use a thick basic white card base. So this again is 4 1/4 by 11, scored and folded in half at 5 1/2. But we're not going to stamp on this one. This one we're going to do a couple of layers on, so I'll set that aside for a moment. So what I've done ahead of time is I have pre-cut a piece of our basic white cardstock. This is the regular weight cardstock, using the dies. They're the, what are they called? The contours. Color and Contours shapes dies. I can't remember the name. I'll in the description box below, I'll definitely put a link to all of the products that I'm using, and especially the dies that I use to cut this out. I just love the stitching, or these little dots that are on there, and the scallop edges. I think it's just so sweet. But before I stamp, I want to add a little bit of a background, and I'm going to use my blending brush for that. Our blending brushes are back in stock. They are extremely popular because they're so wonderful. I think I have 15. They come in packages of 3, so I have either 12 or 15. So I don't have one for every single color of ink that I own, but I do have one for every kind of color type. So like I have a light blue and a dark blue and a light green and a dark green. You get the idea. I've got a pink, I've got a red, orange, yellow. You kind of get the idea. That way I don't have to have one for every color, but I do just have a few. I either have 12 or 15. And I'm going to use Pool Party ink. So I'm going to pull up some ink on my blending brush. I love these blending brushes. And I'm going to take off a little bit on the side so I get off the big smudge. And then I'm just going to lightly add some Pool Party in the center toward the top of this die cut. And this is just giving me kind of like a sky background. And you can do as much or as little as you want. I'm just adding a little bit of a soft blue background. So I'll go ahead and close that up. And I'm going to stamp my leaf again, but before I do that, I need to clean it off because we're going to change colors. Last time I used Pear Pizzazz, and this time I'm going to use Granny Apple Green. So I'm going to clean off using my Simply Chamois. And now I'll pull in my Granny Apple Green ink pad. So now I'll ink this up. And I'll stamp it directly on top of the blue. Like that. And next I'm going to bring in the group of flowers that we have here. And for this one, for the flowers, I'm going to use Polished Pink, which is another one of our in colors, the 2021-2023 in colors. And I don't know much about peaches, but I believe when I did a little bit of research that the blossoms for peaches are pink. I don't know if they're this pink, but this is the pink that I'm using. It's a new ink pad, so it's a little bit stiff. So I'll ink up my flowers. And again, I'm going to, I want to get this out of the way so I don't get pink everywhere. Okay, so again, I apologize if I get my head in the way, but we're going to line these up as best as we can into the gaps there. Again, I didn't do a really good job, but if you're doing it, you can get your head directly over and get it exactly where you want to. And then next, I'm going to add a greeting on this layer as well. So I'll get my pink back open, and I'm going to use Happy Birthday. I always need a lot of birthday cards, so I like to have some ready to go. So I'll ink that up. And let's see if we can get this straight down here. There we go. So that looks good. So what I'm going to do next is I have a piece of polished pink cardstock that is a little bit bigger than our layer that was cut. And this is, let's see, this is 3 1/4 by 4 9/16. So I'm going to add that using our seal adhesive. So I'll attach this onto here. So we have just a nice little border around there. And then if I can find my, did I not bring them? Well, I was going to add dimensionals, but we don't have to since I didn't bring them over here. We're just going to add this directly to the card base using my seal adhesive. So we'll center this on our card base. And there we go. And you could be done with that, but I wanted to add a little bit of extra, so I brought in the Champagne Rhinestone Basic Jewels. And I think I'll just use the smallest. Well, let's see, we've got a big flower here. So I'm gonna use my Take Your Pick tool, if I can get it to stay in there. Somehow I got it twisted off. Okay, so let's see, we'll use a medium-sized one for the big flower, and then we'll use the small ones for the two smaller flowers. And this just adds, oops, didn't want to let go. There we go. So that just adds a little bit of bling to those flowers. Isn't that a sweet happy birthday card? I love that pink, the polished pink. It's a really pretty color. So those are the two. Was this the card that I made? You're as sweet as a peach. So these are the two simple cards that I showed you in the video today, but I did want to share a few others that I've made that are a little bit more intense. These are really simple cards that just use the stamps, ink, and paper with just a little bit of embellishment. But I used the dies on these cards. So again, I used the same as this floral card. I stamped and cut them out with the coordinating dies, and I stamped Happy Birthday on a strip and put that across that card. Here's another one that uses the larger peach image in the stamp set, and then it also uses the, these are, tailor-made tags, which is really cute, and then I stamped my own background paper using the other stamped images. And here's another one with a large peach, and I used the little hello from the stamp set, and then this layers from the painted label dies. Anyway, I'll have links to all of the items that I used in these cards in the description of this video below. I just can't seem to remember things today. I don't know where my mind is. But anyway, I wanted to share those cards that used both the stamp set and the coordinating dies, the Sweet as a Peach. But again, the two cards that I made for you today just use the stamp set. So I hope you found this video helpful and are interested in getting the Sweet as a Peach bundle. I think it's a beautiful bundle. There's also a set of designer series paper that's just gorgeous, but I don't happen to have that yet. So anyway, thank you again so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.